Happy summer! I am glad that it's finally here, although spring seemed to just fly past. But it is nice and cool in the morning and not too hot in the afternoon. This is my favorite time of summer. Get a little bit of rain coming through every few days to kind of help out on the grass and that kind of thing. So here in North Texas, where it spends many days over 100 degrees in the later part of the summer, the front end of the summer is really one of my favorite times. That as you enter the summer, it can be a really weird time for photographers. The rush of the spring season is over. You may be flush with cash because you had a good season. You're still getting some proof purchases and that kind of thing, and so that makes you feel confident, makes you feel, okay, I got this. We're cruising and we're moving ahead. And if you're just starting out, or if you haven't quite built it where you want to build it yet, perhaps you're calculating and figuring that, okay, that will get me to August, which is when I start photographing again and I can pick back up. So there's all ranges there, but many times photographers take the summer off. And while you can certainly do some of that, it's a really important time for your business. And we have several different checklists and programs and videos on how to go through and systematize your business in the summer, working through your storage, your organization, your files on your computer, all of that good stuff. What we're here to talk about, of course, is the year-round photography program. And if you're really wanting to pick up and have a great fall, this is a time to not just sit on your laurels. It's still a time to get out there and, make some hay. So right now, May is gone, June is starting, and we're putting June and July together, but the first part of June especially, you've got graduation wrapping up. You may still have some graduation events. You've got some First Communion through early June. The nursing and trade schools, those types of things may be having graduations through maybe the middle of the month. And then those kind of phase out. Starting to ramp up about that time would be the senior portraits that could be either individual senior sessions, and they are technically seniors. They're the freshly graduated juniors, but this is the time to have those sessions out when it's pretty and get those great individual sessions. Or perhaps you have scheduled an event at a school, especially if there are, say more than 60 seniors, for a cap and gown, tux and drape event. And we have some examples that we post frequently of our senior setups where we would come in, have a tux and drape, cap and gown set here, and then people could come in, and we also had 7 or 8 sets set up around the cafeteria, and so they could book those sessions as well. And we'd spend 3 days or so at this school, we'd move over to another school, and then we'd come back to this one. So we'd have 2 separate days, 6 or 7 days total, and it gave a time in between, so if they were on vacation, we could catch them on the other side. So by the time school rolled around, we had the vast majority of those senior pictures, the cap and gown and tux and drapes, already done, and we did a lot of senior individual sessions too. So that helps, and it keeps the pipeline full, keeps things flowing as you go through the summer. I guess another thing that's kind of winding down right now are the dance schools, but again, they are so valuable to photographers if you can get them. Make sure that you really take good care of them right now, and you spend the time to love on them and really help the parents have the best experience and give you the best financial output that they can give you. So that's that side of it, and the school side of it. The other summer thing that is photographing right now are that the spring season sports leagues are done pretty much, depending on where you live. The summer leagues are just now ramping up, and that might be a swim club. There are some groups like YMCA or Plano Sports Authority, or some of the YMCA and I-9 are the 2 big national companies that they'll have 100,000 students that they photograph, but it's actually maybe 50,000 that they photograph multiple times throughout the year. So one of the groups that's here, it winds up being really about 250,000 faces, but they photograph the same kids multiple times. So if you have 30, 40,000 kids and they cycle through several times, that's a lot of kids. The summer season is in full swing right now in a lot of places in the country. So if you have one of those, we know that the participation rate and the buy rate are not quite what they are at a regular league, but again, you get to photograph them multiple times throughout the year. So that's going on right now on the photography side. On the booking side of things, this is the time to be looking forward into the fall. We have our fall sports leagues that are still, you can still get some good sports leagues booked in June, in July, maybe still, but as you get into July, you're probably only going to find the leagues that are either struggling to manage themselves well or that have had a bad photographer and they're wanting to make some changes that would come up with those last minute decisions. Normally, especially the larger leagues and the more organized leagues, they're going to make that decision further out. So right now, at the beginning of June, you've still got some time. Get out there, find you some soccer leagues for the fall. Football programs are great. This is the prime time for the fall football leagues, and they can be very lucrative because there's a lot of gear. We know the rule is the more gear they buy, the more pictures they buy, right? Football is one of those that's on the top end of that. Soccer, shorts and a ball. So, but we get to photograph them twice a year, so it kind of balances out. Baseball, softball plays in the fall in many places. However, they normally only do pictures in the spring. That's the big season, and it goes along with professional baseball, as they roll into the summer. But in the fall, a lot of leagues will use this for their developmental phase, and they're really working on the skills and on growing them as players. You can still have a great program and maybe even take some leagues away from some other photographers, because most of the baseball, softball leagues don't photograph in the fall. And if you come in not to do a team type event, it's not your normal league photo shoot, but if you come in to do a hero program, which, hero photography, hero shot, they are the subject of the photo. We can do a hero program with the baseball players, the softball players, and give them individual portraits that are banners, products that really show them off. You can kind of get away with some more of the cutting edge type photography and products here. And so if you specifically target maybe leagues that you've tried to get into, you can't get their spring shoot, they might give you an opportunity to do a hero program and really kind of show off your stuff. And it's an additional opportunity for revenue. It won't necessarily be as big as a spring shoot, but it will give you that opportunity to get your foot in the door or maximize a league that's already yours, not only from a loyalty standpoint, but also financially. So keep that in mind. A hero program featuring banners, any of the products that maybe kind of pull back in the spring, your buttons, your dog tags, your magnets, some of those things that show off the kid. You could do, we do a lot of the room size banners. They're 16 by 20 or 16 by 24, depending on the template. You could do the big heads or fat heads. You could do blankets. You could do anything that gets an individual player a canvas to be on it and a place to show off. So try that program. See if you can get one or two. Give it a shot. Let me know how it works for you. We know from past experience that they can do very well and keep photographers busy, keep your studio with some cash flow flowing through the pipeline. So another thing that we're seeing booking now are the childcare programs. Schools book a little further out, regular public schools, although you may still find a few of those that will book for the fall, the first 2 or 3 weeks of June. But early childhood centers, daycares and preschools, they make a lot of decisions through the early summer. So mom and dad still have to work. Kids are typically still in daycare. They may take a break if it's preschool, but there are still kids there. Every day. So you have an opportunity to get in there, speak with them, and try to set up a program for the fall. It's a great time when things are kind of settled down, a little more quiet. The ROTC programs and the bands, the high school bands. This is not the concert season band. This is the marching side of things. And they can be big. Like the band that my son is in, 367 members. And it's not the biggest. The biggest band in the country is right over here in Allen, Texas, just next door to us here. And they can get massive, certainly in Texas and some other places. But even if it's 60, that's a great size group that many times is very underserved by the yearbook photographer, whoever's doing the fall portraits. They don't always choose to do anything other than a group photo for the band. And if you come in and do a group and individual, just like team and individual program, you can do really well on those. Our average ticket on those is almost always higher than it is for a sports league or scholastic sports. So this is a great time. The band directors are there. The ROTC commanders are there through the summer. So you can get with them. You can talk to them in a relaxed atmosphere. Show them your stuff, how you can serve their parents, their kids, make it super easy, and maybe give them something fun to do that they're not going to find from Brand X that does the fall pictures. So believe it or not, even though we're in the summer, we're going to give a little bit of forethought, kind of like Hobby Lobby. If you go in Hobby Lobby right now, you'll still see, or you'll already see holiday stuff around. Well, we're going to take that same approach, because right now on the July side, but late June moving into July, you have an opportunity to start booking holiday events, corporate get-togethers. Now, I'm not talking 11 people that work at the HVAC company in a town of 3,000. They won't book this far out. But if you are somewhere in a metro area, or even a city of 50, 60,000 to 100,000, there are companies big enough that in order to get a space that will house them, they have to book that far out. And so you can talk to the event staff, and as people sign up, if you can work out an arrangement with them to let you know, you can or get your information there, so that as they book those events, they can say, if you need a photographer for your event, here you go, and have a nice, this one would be a collateral piece, old-fashioned style, that would have some images and some explanations of how easy you're going to make it on everybody. And online proofing is perfect for these type of scenarios. Some people love to print on site. That's great. 5x7s, maybe even 8x10s, but certain events, it's the spontaneous get it now before they get drunk, and others it's let's capture the event, get the corporation to pay for it. They'll pay for candids, and they'll pay for individual couple shots or that kind of thing. So we do it both ways, and we'll talk a little more about that as we go forward. But the corporate and company holiday parties, and even holiday promotions, this is a time to be thinking about that. If you have a school that you've wanted to photograph and you can't get past the photographer that's there, this is a great time to talk to them and become their holiday photographer. Many of them will do a fall carnival or a Santa promotion, and the school, an elementary school, comes together and they're going to, bring in Santa Claus, or they're going to have the fall festivities or that kind of thing. Kind of depends on the demographics of where you are. The further south you are, the more likely it's going to be a Santa event in addition to a fall event. In other places, Santa may not be the appropriate thing for their demographic. So you kind of have to know your area, but this is a great time to book that and become their photographer. Some of them are really, they're not pro bono events, but some of them, if you're working with your PTA, may be more of a volunteer situation, and we don't want that if you're trying to grow your studio with it. You want to have something that you're able to put up online proofing for the parents, something beyond here's the 5x7 for $10, that kind of thing. Now, if you can photograph 500 families, okay, but it kind of depends on what your relationship is with the school and your intended outcome. So that's kind of what's booking right now heading into the fall. Right? You're always thinking 60 days at the shortest, normally 90 days, 120 days out. That's really what I'm working on right now. So what are the things that you could be doing any time of the year? You hear me talk about this every month. You've got cheer and gymnastics schools. Now, they go through cycles with competitions and that kind of thing, but they have activities going on all year long. And so it's worth getting in there and trying to set up and establish maybe even a twice a year event or more. If you have an opportunity, come to our boot camp. We spend a whole day on dance, cheer, and gymnastics, because that, as a group of individuals, is really something that you ought to have in your pipeline. You've got very attached to the process parents, normally moms. Yes, they're stage moms, but they are very, very engaged. Many times you have multiple outfits, and they're committed and they want to remember this. So more gear they buy, well, if they buy 5 dance outfits or they buy 3 different cheer competition uniforms, they're committed and they will get photographs to commemorate that down the road. So that's one thing that you can do. You could even photograph them through the summer. Another thing is the church and synagogue directories. Any of the organizations, the religious organizations, you can do directories. Certain denominations are more involved than others, but they, the summer is a great time to do those kind of directories, because whereas Life Touch and Olin Mills back in the day and others would come in for a few days and then they may be in Toledo next week, if you're here and you're here in the summer, not in the fall, well, first of all, in your directory, everybody's not wearing a Christmas sweater like they are in theirs. Second of all, you've got people on vacation, but if you do it and then give a week off and do it again, you're still only there for a few days, but you get all the kids home from college, everybody's tan, they all look good, they may even have their cute little summer outfits on, and it provides something different and unique, and you capture a lot more of the families and their lifestyle that way. Rolling through that same type of program, now's a great time to do family portrait fundraisers. It could be for the upcoming senior class, or it could be for one of your elementary schools. You could be booking that for the fall, or you could be if you've got some other organization, maybe the soccer league or something, not necessarily right in the crazy time of their season, but now if you just finished a soccer league, let's say it's in Ohio and there's 450 kids. Well, it's quiet now. You could do a family portrait fundraiser for that league, and then you donate a portion of the proceeds to them. Families have an opportunity that might not have any other opportunity to get family portraits, and everybody wins. You're not doing it at the same time that they're having to go to practice every other day and games and all that stuff. It's a more relaxed time. So it's a great time to do that. Martial arts schools are another program that you can photograph all year long. They do have different competitions and events, but as a general rule, you could step in and in a fairly short period of time, book an event, get the word out to the parents, and have the event, and then have your proofs up online. Really within 30 days. So if you're in need of cash, find some martial arts academies, schools, dojos in your area that need to kind of refresh their programs. And it could be a short ramp up to get you some cash in the door. So this is the time to be thinking forward to the fall, but it's also the time to be looking back at the spring and looking at what worked, what didn't work, what could have been smoother. And so this is why we always encourage the members over at systems.photography to write down, or those things that we've written down through the season, take those and tweak them so that our processes and our systems are better for the next season. If you need some help with that, there's a lot of information on our YouTube channel, over at systems.photography, at our boot camp. There's just all kinds of resources that we have available for you. So let us know, and we're happy to help you anytime. So you can head over to systems.photography. You can go to volumephotoacademy.com. You can find us here on YouTube, and in all of those places, you can see the information about joining us this year in Birmingham, Alabama, at our 17th annual Volume Photography Boot Camp. We focus on schools, sports leagues, early childhood, and dance, gymnastics, and cheer. So we take a full day going through the sales and marketing, how to actually process a picture day, the post-production workflow, and then you physically get to work with models of that genre for that day, and you'll be able to get some comfort under your belt and walk away knowing, I got this, I can do this. Then on Friday this year, there's a special optional seminar on writing out and developing the right systems for your business. So it's a Monday through Friday event. Actually, we do a few things on Sunday night too for those that come in. It's in Birmingham, Alabama at the Hilton at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. And it's going to be a great event. You can find out information at volumephotoacademy.com or over on systems.photography. That's it for this month. I am here if you have questions. You can find Mr. Systems, Mitchell Moore, on Facebook. You can find me at either of those two websites, and I'm always happy to help. That's it for now. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon.